his hand. Senate will be called to order. Are there any requests for leave at this time? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Henzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. If everyone in the chamber and in the galleries would please rise, we'll first be led in prayer by Senator Mark Johnson, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Senator Mark Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Heavenly Father,
Thanks, Senator Johnson, for those encouraging and uplifting words. Ladies and gentlemen in the galleries, welcome to your Arkansas State Senate. It is our expectation that each of you will exercise proper decorum and govern yourselves accordingly during today's proceedings. Without objection, the rules will be suspended and the Senate will dispense with the reading of the journal. The morning hour has now begun. I would like to call on Senator Stone, who will introduce our Senate pages of the day. Senator Stone, you're recognized.
thank you, Governor. Members, I would like to recognize our Senate pages joining us today. When I your name, please come to the front and be recognized. Sierra Holmes. Sierra is a Lee High School student in Senator Murdoch's district. Long Ferris from Lee High School, also in Senator Murdoch's district. Aaron Brandon from Lee High School, Senator Murdoch's district. Eliana Edwards, Lee High School, Senator Murdoch's district. Taylor Holyfield, Lee High School, Senator Murdoch's district. And Sage Tressler with Berryville High School, Senator King's district. Please help me welcome them, and thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Stone, and thank you to our pages for being here today. We're glad to have each and every one of you here, as well as any family or school administrators who have joined them or in the galleries. Any other announcements or introductions? Senator Hester, you're recognized.
Hey, members, as I announced Thursday, I intend to ask us to batch House bills when we get to those on the calendar today. Anything that had an amendment at some point or as an emergency clause won't be able to be batched. But if you have anything you do not want in a batch, hopefully you're able to review that this weekend. Anything you do not want in a batch, please see Sabrina at some point during the Senate bills. Thanks.
Any other announcements or introductions? Senator Murdoch, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Governor. I want to take this opportunity, colleagues, to recognize the wonderful, beautiful ladies of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. If you'll stand in the gallery, welcome them to the Arkansas Senate, please. It's Delta It's Delta Day. It's Delta Day at the Capitol, and we're so happy to have them there. You see those beautiful ladies in red and white. Be sure to make sure that give them a warm welcome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Senator Murdoch, and welcome, ladies. Any other announcements or introductions? If not, Madam Secretary, are there items at the desk?
Yes, this is to inform you on April 3, 2025, I received the following and approved measures from the regular session of the 95th General Assembly: Senate Bill 83, Act 424, Senate Bill 103, Act 425, Senate Bill 329, Act 426, Senate Bill 366, Act 427, Senate Bill 432, Act 428, Senate Bill 232, Act 429, Senate Bill 454, Act 430, Senate Bill 99, Act 437, Senate Bill 380, Act 439, Senate Bill 218, Act 440, Senate Bill 275, Act 441, Senate Bill 280, Act 442, Senate Bill 327, Act 443, Senate Bill 344, Act 444, Senate Bill 368, Act 445, Senate Bill 378, Act 446, Senate Bill 388, Act 447, Senate Bill 401, Act 448, Senate Bill 403, Act 449, Senate Bill 91, Act 459, Senate Bill 271, Act 460, Senate Bill 319, Act 461, Senate Bill 370, Act 462, Senate Bill 414, Act 463, Senate Bill 379, Act 464, Senate Bill 381, Act 465, Senate Bill 382, Act 466, Senate Bill 383, Act 467, Senate Bill 384, Act 468, Senate Bill 385, Act 469, Senate Bill 387, Act 470, Senate Bill 380, Act 471. Sincerely, Sarah Huckabee, Governor.
Please file it.
For your Committee on Road Bills, to move for the following: Senate Bill 118 by Senator Penzo, Senate Bill 132 by Joint Budget, Senate Bill 320 by Senator Irving, Senate Bill 324 by Senator Mark Johnson, Senate Concurrent Resolution 6 by Senator Scott. Compare the enrolled copies with the original and find the same correctly enrolled, and at 9:40 a.m. delivered to the Governor for her approval.
Please file it.
Will your Committee on Gross Bills, to move first Senate Bill 596 by Senator McKee. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move first Senate Bill 602 by Senator Crowell. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move first Senate Bill 605 by Senator Dismayne. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move first Senate Bill 615 by Senator Penzo. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move first House Bill 1290 by Representative Johnson, Senator Boyd. Compare the engrossed copy of the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Insurance and Commerce.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move first Senate Bill 13, House Bill 1352 by Representative Beatty. Compare the engrossed copy of the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move forward House Bill 1429 by Representative Shepherd and Senator Irving. Compare the engrossed copy of the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move forward House Bill 1602 by Representative Johnson. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move forward House Bill 1694 by Representative Houghton, Senator Crowell. Compare the engrossed copy with the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Calendar.
Committee on Engrossed Bills, to move forward House Bill 1827 by Representative Wardlaw. Compare the engrossed copy of the original and find the same correctly engrossed.
Agriculture.
Committee on Education, to whom was referred Senate Bill 451 by Senator Hester. Recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Education, to whom was referred Senate Bill 451 by Senator Hester. Recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Education, who was first Senate Bill 618 by Senator Irving. Recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Education, who was first Senate Bill 624 by Senator Davis. Recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Revenue and Tax, whom was first Senate Bill 535 by Senator Hester, recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Revenue and Tax to Missouri House Bill 1589 by Representative Schultz, recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Revenue and Tax to Missouri House Bill 1657 by Representative Beck, recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Revenue and Tax to Missouri House Bill 1851 by Representative Jean, recommend do pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Education who has referred Senate Bill 149 by Senator English, recommend do pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Education who has referred Senate Bill 619 by Senator Irving, recommend do pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Education who has referred House Bill 1810 by Senator English, recommend do pass to concur, do pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Senate Resolution 63 by Senator Ladding to proclaim April as AARP month at the state capitol and proclaim April 8, 2025 as AARP Red Shirt Day at the state capitol. Senate Resolution 63.
Calendar.
Senate Bill 628 by Senator Gilmore to amend the law concerning court transcript fees and to increase the transcript fees to which a court reporter is entitled. Senate Bill 628.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 629 by Senator Caldwell to amend an officer of a closely held corporation to represent the corporation in court for the purpose of eviction proceedings and unlawful detainer proceedings. Senate Bill 629.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 630 by Senator Davis to require only a court to fix punishment if a defendant is charged with felony or misdemeanor, and to require only a judge to sentence a defendant for a charge that results in a conviction. Senate Bill 630.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 631 by Senator Davis to amend Arkansas law concerning hearings on the revocation of probation or suspension. Senate Bill 631.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 632 by Senator Love to amend the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and to require warning labels for hair relaxers that contain certain chemicals. Senate Bill 632.
Public Health.
Okay. Committee on Revenue and Tax who has referred House Bill 1695 by Representative Richardson, recommend do pass as amended number 1. Also has a disclosure notice from Senator Dismay on House Bill 1695.
Calendar.
Will your Committee on Gross Bills to whom was referred House Bill 1808 by Representative Collins and Senator Tucker, compare the engrossed copy of the original and find same correctly engrossed.
Calendar is calendar.
Is that all of them? Or no, but I'm it's
Any other announcements or introductions? Any other business to come for the body in the morning hour? If not, the morning hour has expired. We will now begin the business agenda. We will begin with Senator Hammer. We will pass over Senate Resolution 59 and we will go to Senate Resolution 62.
Senate Resolution 62 by Senator Petty to recognize the Van Buren High School Pointers Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state champions and the Lady Pointers Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state runners-up.
Senator Petty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I know this seems like deja vu all over again, now 4 times, but we have our Van Buren wrestling team here for the 4th time as state champions, and a new addition, I might add, a quite an improvement to the look here. We have our ladies wrestling team here who finished runner-up. And so I will not read through all of the information. We've taken pictures before, but I did want to recognize these young men and women for their hard work, and I'll read just a few of these things. So obviously we're here to recognize Van Buren High School Pointer Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state champions, and the Lady Pointers Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state runners-up. So just be forewarned, these guys I'm expecting down here for the 5th year in a row, and these ladies are gonna move up on the list to the champions next year. I'm confident in that, right, ladies? So, but a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of effort, as well as a coach building a dynasty here. But again, 4th year in a row as state champions, as state wrestling champions, and more things to come for the ladies as state runners-up this year. And with that, I would make a motion for a good vote and for approval.
Thank you, Senator Petty. All those in favor of Senate Resolution 62 to recognize the Van Buren High School Pointers Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state champions, and the Lady Pointers Wrestling Team as the 2024-2025 Class 5A state runners-up, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Senate Resolution 62 is adopted. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's enough. All right. Right back out that way. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. See you next year. All right, ladies, I'm counting. Thank you.
Next, we will move to Senate bills to concur and House amendments, beginning with Amendments 1 and 2 with Senate Bill 104. Senator Penzo.
Amendment 1, Senate Bill 104.
And we will need to voice vote these amendments separately, and then we will vote the bill separately. Senator Penzo.
Thank you, Madam President. There were a couple of amendments that were requested over on the House side. One was put forth by the University of Arkansas, the other by Walmart. Now everything's agreed to. We had 27 votes on this when it came through. Now a lot of the opposition has been removed from it, so appreciate a good vote.
All in favor to concur in Amendment 1, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is concurred in.
Amendment 2 to Senate Bill 104.
Motion to concur in Amendment 2.
All those in favor to concur in Amendment 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment 2 is concurred in.
Senate Bill 104 by Senator Penzo, to amend the Arkansas Pharmacy Benefits Manager Licensure Act to protect patients' rights and access to medications and declare an emergency.
Senator Penzo, you're recognized.
Ask for a good vote and closed. Thank you.
With no questions, anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Dotson, present. Any other senator? Murdoch, present. Any other senator? Scott, present. Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 32 yea, 0 nay, 3 present. Senate Bill 104 passes, and the corresponding emergency clause is adopted. Please enroll it. Amendment 1. Is Senator Tucker here? We're going to pass over Senator Tucker's bill and go temporarily and go to Senate Bill 257, Amendment 1. Senator Penzo.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 257.
Senator Penzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. We just had some more cleanup. This was another bill. This was the bill that changed the days from 35 to 65 days where you could contest a rejection. Industry standards, 90 days. There was just some cleanup that was requested on it. And I think we had 35 yay votes on it before it was amended. So motion to concur in the House amendment.
All those in favor of the motion to concur in the House Amendment 1, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is concurred in.
Senate Bill 257 by Senator Penzo to amend the Medicaid Fairness Act to extend the appeal period for providers in the Arkansas Medicaid program and require comprehensive information in notices of adverse decisions.
Senator Penzo, you're recognized.
Appreciate a good vote, and I'm closed.
Senator, no questions. Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection? Rolling the vote. Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 35 yea, 0 nay. Senate Bill 257 passes. Please enroll it. Next, we'll take up Amendment 1, Senate Bill 323.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 323.
Senator Bryant, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Amendment 1, just a minor verbiage change. So we got with Senator Payton. He had his constituent with a very unique situation in one of his communities. So the attorneys and the constituent worked hours and finally nailed some language. So it's just an amendment to change a little bit of language.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is concurred in.
Senate Bill 323 by Senator Bryant to amend the Horizontal Property Act.
Senator Bryant, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, this bill passed unanimously out of here and no opposition down in the House. This just, the amendment and the bill just redefines horizontal property. Thank you.
No questions. Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senators closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? King not voting. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 34 yea, 0 nay, 1 not voting. Senate Bill 323 passes. Please enroll it. Senator Tucker is here, so we will now go back to Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 227.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 227. Just concurring.
Thank you, Madam President. This isn't concurring in a House amendment. The only purpose of the amendment was to add co-sponsors. I'd appreciate a good vote.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is concurred in.
Senate Bill 227 by Senator Tucker.
I'm sorry, I have a motion after.
Don't you want to vote this bill?
Yes, I do.
That's what I thought.
Senator Tucker, you're recognized.
To amend the Freedom of Information Act of 1967 and to amend the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act of 1967 concerning public meetings.
Senator Tucker, you're recognized.
This is the bill with the addition of co-sponsors. Appreciate a good vote. Thank you.
Any questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Payton, no. Any other senator?
That's my polling meeting bill if you want to go.
Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 34 yea, 1 nay, Senate Bill 227 passes. Please enroll it. Senator Tucker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a motion to re-refer Senate Bill 600 to Judiciary for the purposes of amendment.
All those in favor of the motion to re-refer Senate Bill 600 to Judiciary for purposes of amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Senator Gilmore, you had a motion. You are recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I'm going to ask that we suspend the rules to place SB 590 on the end of the calendar, Senate calendar for today. It was on the calendar for Thursday. I made a motion to send it back to committee to have an amendment adopted on it. What I meant to say was have amendment engrossed, so I misspoke, but I'd like to just place on the end of the calendar. There's no opposition to this that I'm aware of. Happy to take questions.
What bill?
SB 590.
What's the title?
It's the recidivism framework.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We've heard it now in committee twice. Again, no issues other than having a amendment adopted, and I misspoke when I made my motion the other day. So with that, I'd make a motion.
All those in favor to suspend the rules for purposes of placing Senate Bill 590 on today's calendar, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Senator Clark, did you have a motion or? Not yet. Not yet. Okay. All right. If not, we will move forward with today's calendar. Senator Hammer, we passed over your resolution for today, but if you are ready, we would like to go to the beginning of the calendar and take up Senate Resolution 59.
Senate Resolution 59 by Senator Hammer to recognize April as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month.
Senator Hammer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Governor. This is a resolution. I'm not sure that anyone is in the gallery, but I would like to recognize that April is Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. One of the things that we need to always be mindful of down here with all the legislation that we pass is that there are children that are victims of child abuse and neglect, and we, I believe that our DHS and our other state agencies do an excellent job in trying to provide protection. And in all the laws that we pass down here, I know that everybody has the best intent and also puts forth the best effort, but did want to just pause and ask that this month, being recognized April as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, that we as a Senate would pause to just take time to put a lot of extra focus on this, And so with that, Madam Governor, I would just ask, and I will not read the resolution in its entirety, but I will ask the senators to do this if you would. If you would just stand for a moment, and if we could have a moment of silence, and in that moment of silence, pray for those that are of our most vulnerable population as a state, and that would be the children that have been subjected to abuse and also neglect. And let's just pray that their family lives can be straightened out to where they can be returned to their homes and to a safe environment, or that the good Lord above would put them in a home and an environment where they wouldn't have to grow up living with that fear any longer. So instead of reading the resolution, Madam Governor, I'm just going to ask for a moment of silence that we might all lift up these children that are experiencing abuse or have experienced abuse and neglect, that God just put his hand of grace on them. If you would, please, a moment of silence. Thank you, Madam Governor, members of the Senate. And with that, I'd move for a good vote for Senate Resolution 59 to recognize April as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, Madam Governor.
Thanks, Senator Hammer. All those in favor of Senate Resolution 59 to recognize April as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Senate Resolution 59 is adopted. Next, we will return to the Senate calendar, or rather to the calendar on page 2 for Senate Bill 610, Amendment 1, but I believe Senator Clark, you are now ready with a motion. Senator Clark, you're recognized.
Senate Bill 406 was sent back to City, County, Local for purpose of amendment. We amended it Thursday. Somehow we, and it was passed out due pass. Didn't make it somehow on the calendar today. I would like to make a motion that first that we adopt the amendment. Or do I have to do something else before I make that motion? City, County, Local. SB 406. What? Yeah, it came out due pass as amended. I would, it somehow didn't make the calendar today, but I would like to make a motion to adopt the amendment. The amendment was to satisfy the senators that had questions about it on the floor. Yes. Okay, we're going to put it at the bottom of the amendment calendar. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, senators, we're now going to go back to the calendar in front of us. And that will be Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 610. Senator McKee.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 610.
Senator McKee, you're recognized.
Thank you, members. This was a drafting and engrossing error, just seeking to get that fixed.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing. We will next take up Amendment 1 to House Bill 1771. Senator Murdoch.
Amendment 1 to House Bill 1771.
Senator Murdoch.
Thank you, colleagues. Says you read it. Madam Chair, pass over this for a second. Let me check on something. Colleagues, will you adopt Amendment 1 to House Bill 1771, please?
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Thank you.
Next, we will take up House concurrent resolutions, beginning with House Concurrent Resolution 1009.
House Concurrent Resolution 1009 by Senator Pinzo to comply with Arkansas Acts 2023, number 259, to request federal funding for the next study phase and to petition the Arkansas Congressional Delegation to introduce federal legislation to rectify certain energy issues.
Senator Pinzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. House Concurrent Resolution 1009 asks our federal delegation to introduce legislation requesting a $10 million funding to the Department of Higher Ed in the state to complete the Economic Study Analysis in Act 259 of 2023. Appreciate a good vote.
All those in favor of House Concurrent Resolution 1009, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. House Concurrent Resolution is adopted. Please return to the House as concurred in.
Do you want me to do them now? Do you want me to do them now? Oh, okay.
We are going to pass over Senate Bill 120 and Senate Bill 347 and put it at the bottom of the Senate calendar for today, behind Senator Pinzo's Senate Bill 613. And so Senate Bill 120 and Senate Bill 347 will be at the bottom of the Senate calendar today. Senator Clark, we're still not. Okay. Is Senator Hester? Senate Bill 437.
Senate Bill 437 by Senator Hester to create the Arkansas Wind Energy Development Act.
Senator Hester, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Members, this is a bill that we've had a lot of wind bills this session. This is one that we worked on. We've amended several times, but it brings some regulation into an industry that is not currently regulated. I think one of the most important parts about this is what we're calling the 300 elevation line, that these regulations would be in effect basically protects the Ozarks, but other parts of the state, like Senator Caldwell's so interested in, they're continuing to allow to operate without these same type of regulations. Anything that's currently under construction is grandfathered in and is not encumbered by these regulations. I'm happy to give a lot more detail if somebody wants to ask some questions.
Any questions for Senator Hester? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Oh, Senator Caldwell, you're recognized to speak for the bill.
Thank you, Governor. Again, I want to reiterate what Senator Hester said. This is a agreed to amendment, and I would appreciate a good vote on his behalf.
Thanks, Senator Caldwell. Senator Hester has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Pinzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers, present. Senator Pinzo, present. Senator Murdoch, Senator Flowers, present. Senator Pinzo, present. Senator Murdoch, no. Any other senator? Senator Dotson, present. Any other senator? Senator Love, present. Senator Blake Johnson, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 29 yea, 1 nay, 5 present. Senate Bill 437 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senator Clark, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you. Senate Bill 406, I've been working on since before January. It was originally SB 69. We just passed the amendment for it to be engrossed. I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place it at the end of SB 406 at the end of the Senate calendar today.
All those in favor of the motion to suspend the rules to place SB 406, I apologize, SB 406 at the bottom of the Senate calendar today. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Madam Secretary, are there items at the desk?
Yes, for your Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred Senate Bill 255 by Senator Penzo, recommended passes amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred Senate Bill 311 by Senator Penzo, recommended passes amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom was referred Senate Bill 627 by Senator Irving, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred House Bill 1131 by Representative Pilkington, recommended to pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred House Bill 1734 by Representative Childers, recommended to pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred House Bill 1844 by Representative Tosh, recommended to pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred Senate Bill 591 by Senator Penzo, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred House Bill 1241 by Representative Mayberry, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Public Health, to whom is referred House Bill 1653 by Representative Kavanaugh, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom is referred Senate Bill 590 by Senator Gilmore, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom is referred Senate Bill 612 by Senator Dees, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate Bill 620 by Senator Irving, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate Bill 623 by Senator Scott, recommended to pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1148 by Representative Vaught, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1615 by Representative Lundstrom, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1729 by Representative Burks, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1752 by Representative Maddox, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Okay, now we're at Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1777 by Representative Gasaway, recommended to pass as amended number 1.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1799 by Representative Vaught, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1815 by Representative Perry, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1824 by Representative Duffield, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1835 by Representative Dalby, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1838 by Representative Dalby, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1839 by Representative Dalby, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1865 by Representative Vaught, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Committee on Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 1887 by Representative Pierce, recommended to pass.
Calendar.
Okay.
Next, we will go back to Senate bills. We will have Senate Bill 439.
Senate Bill 439 by Senator Irving to amend the duties of the Secretary of the Department of Labor and Licensing and to amend portions of Arkansas Code which resulted and initiated Act 1 of 1914.
Senator Irvin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, the main purpose of this proposal is to clarify the duties of the Secretary of the Department of Labor and Licensing regarding the two different areas, Division of Labor, including labor disputes and wage and hour claims, and the authority of the Secretary for personnel-related matters, including hiring and firing of board, commission, section, or division personnel. The proposal also replaces all references to the Director of the Division of Labor and replaces it with a reference of with either the Secretary of the Department of Labor and Licensing or his or her designee, and then simply the Department of Labor and Licensing, depending on which phrase was most applicable. This was the bill that came to the floor. We sent it back to the committee because I think our staff at the Bureau wanted to make sure we had some clarifying language, which is engrossed in the bill at the very back page of the bill. And then basically that they have authority, that it's the Secretary, not the Director, but to clean up that language, has the authority of ultimate hiring and firing authority over the personnel in the Department of Labor and Licensing. So that was just cleanup language. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Senator Irvin? Seeing no questions, anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
I'm closed for my bill. Appreciate a good vote. Thank you.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 35 yea, 0 nay, Senate Bill 439 passes. Please transmit it to the House. Senator Clark, we will now take up Amendment 3 to Senate Bill 406.
Amendment 3 to Senate Bill 406.
Senator Clark, you're recognized.
Yes, we had done a great deal of work on SB 406, but as often happens, Senator Hickey and Senator Dismayne, Senator Tucker found some problems on the floor, and this amendment was to address that.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing. Next, we will take up Senate Bill 447.
Senate Bill 447 by Senator Petty to require permitted common carriers to submit reports detailing shipments of alcoholic beverages into the state.
Senator Petty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, with few exceptions, it's currently illegal to ship alcohol into the state, but it's obviously happening daily. The purpose of this bill is to simply give the state a 2-year gauge on the volume of alcohol being shipped into Arkansas. As it stands now, we really don't know. It requires that common carrier shippers like FedEx, UPS, DHL file quarterly reports with DFNA that documents the amount and volume that they're bringing into the state who shipped it. This does not create a sting. It's not looking out for my Baptist brothers or anything like that. It's just a report to evaluate potentially the amount of volume. For example, in Kansas, after they adopted a similar bill, they identified almost 200,000 alcohol shipments. After 7 months in Tennessee, they had about 185,000 shipments identified, and then our friends in Texas always do it big. They had about 1.2 million shipments. And so with that, all we're trying to do is identify that, and at that point, we can decide what we want to do after 2 years.
Any questions for Senator Petty? Senator Payton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Why do we need to know?
It's currently illegal to ship, and we have no idea how much is currently being shipped into Arkansas. with very few
I thought
exceptions.
you said it was legal in certain circumstances.
It is legal in certain circumstances, that's correct. But it is illegal in most circumstances.
So would we expect those illegal shipments to be reported?
Well, the common carriers that are delivering it are going to report the information to DFNA.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, though.
Senator Bryant, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Petty, what did those 3 states that acquired that data, do you know how they reacted to that, what their result was?
Some of them are fairly new. I do not know the answer to that. Some of them are fairly new. For example, Texas, they adopted theirs in 2022, but I do not know what they have done. And for my expectation would be that we decide what we do with that data at the point in time in a couple of years from now.
What would be, like one of those would be just to end all shipments or to go to the end user and force tax compliance, or what do you propose that would be?
I'm not proposing anything at this point, but those would be items that could be considered.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Sullivan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Is there an enforcement mechanism? If people don't report, what happens?
So there is a reporting requirement. Let me get to the page there, but no, it is very loose. We actually had conversations with FedEx. They had some concerns, but they already have the software in place that captures this data.
If they don't comply, what happens?
If they don't comply, I'm looking for it here. The penalties starts on the bottom of page 2, and then it goes to page 3. So the penalties, which I don't have them here, but the penalties are under section 2313-234 if they fail to report.
Okay.
Any other questions? Senator Payton with a follow-up.
Thank you, Madam President. So can you tell us what the penalty is? I mean, that's just a code section. And are the carriers always aware of what's in the package?
That's another good question. So I'll come back to the code section. I'll look it up in just a second. But the information it doesn't include any information about the recipient. It just gives a zip code. It does not include, because they don't know if it's bourbon or legal wine being shipped into the state. And so the details of that are not. It's just where the shipper was and what zip code it was shipped to.
Okay. Well, maybe if you could tell us what the penalty was, I'd appreciate it.
Other questions? Senator Mark Johnson, then Senator Hammer.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Petty, this is primarily a data collection bill, is it not? I mean, we may or may not in the future do something that would address the volume. If it's minuscule, maybe we don't want to do anything. And if it's a lot and a lot of tax dollars being evaded, we might want to do something. Is that basically what it is?
That is correct. We're just trying to gather the data to determine if we do have a substantial problem or a minor problem.
Okay, great. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Madam President.
I see Senator Hammer. Any other senators? Senator Hammer, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Is part of the intent and what the other states have done with this is to determine if there's bootlegging or illegal alcohol coming into the state, and without this, there's really no measurable way to determine that?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Senator Petty?
I'm happy to push the pause button and try to look in that other counter section. You're okay going forward? Okay. All right. Either way. All right.
Senator, no other questions? Oh, sorry. Senator Flowers, you're recognized for a question.
You may have already covered this, but a common carrier that is simply delivering and transporting a package from a private individual, how are they supposed to know, or does this apply to alcoholic beverages that are in that package sent from a private individual?
No, this is a common carrier reporting requirement. If Uncle Joe wants to ship a bottle of wine or something, that is not contemplated being tracked here.
Well, exactly what is being contemplated? Just alcohol from liquor stores or from beer
from the distributor end and from the distilleries, from the wineries and so forth.
So if Budweiser, are you talking about beer and stuff too, coming out of state to Arkansas?
We're talking, right now we don't know what all is coming in, but
would that be included?
If there was an alcohol or a beer, I mean, that was being shipped from some small microbrewery somewhere, then yes, that could be captured.
So Anheuser-Busch Coors beer that's shipped into the state, you saying that's illegal now?
No, I'm not. That is coming through the distributors, through the normal chains. This is from the suppliers that are going to individual homes, not through the normal channels for the beer distributorships.
Any other questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
I'm closed.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Objection noted. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees,
Yes.
Dismang, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Ladding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott,
Yes.
Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator who did not vote or who wishes to change your vote? Senator Dodson, no.
Clark is a yes.
Clark, yes. Kroll, yes. Love, yes. Letting, yes. Rice, yes. King, no. McKee, no. Any other senator? Please check the board.
All the alcoholics in red.
Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 20 yea, 12 nay, 2 not voting, 1 present. Senate Bill 447 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 475.
I need an announcement first.
Senator Dismang, you're recognized for an announcement. Then we will go to Senate Bill 475.
Thank you, Governor. Members, I'd like to welcome our doctor of the day, Dr. Singh from Searcy. Welcome to the chamber.
And always, as part of our family, we have Lee Fazio here, so let's welcome her again.
Now we will take up Senate Bill 475.
Senate Bill 475 by Senator Dismayne to establish the Pharmacy Services Administrative Organization Act and to regulate pharmacy services administrative organizations.
Senator Dismayne, you're recognized.
Members, last week we had a brief conversation about PSAOs on the floor. Again, we kind of talked about what their role is as kind of the in-between between PBMs and pharmacies. Currently in the state of Arkansas, they are not licensed or regulated or registered. So all this bill does is create that regulation, oversight, and licensure with the state insurance department. It will be helpful, I believe, as we move through the process, not with just PBMs, but also making sure that we're taking care of our patients and doing and acting in their best interest. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Senator Dismayne? Senator Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you. Senator Dismayne, thank you for bringing this bill. I think it brings oversight that wasn't there or hasn't been there previously. I've had some concerns expressed to me that if a pharmacy hired a consultant to help remodel the pharmacy, that somehow that would fit into there. Could you just give me some certainty that you don't believe that is applicable?
No, and I don't believe that's the case. And there'll be some promulgation that goes along with this. And I think just the fact that we're mentioning on the floor will help with that. But no, that is not the intent of the bill and should not be the ultimate outcome of the bill.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator King, you're recognized. Oh, you're just standing. Okay. Sorry. Any other senator? Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection, rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? King not voting. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 34 yeas, 0 nay, 1 not voting. Senate Bill 475 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 485.
Senate Bill 485 by Senator Tucker to reduce recidivism and to amend the law concerning the suspended imposition of a sentence, probation, parole, and post-release supervision.
Senator Tucker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to start by thanking Senator Gilmore for his outstanding work and leadership in this area. This bill came about as a result of a task force that was created in the PROTECT Act. The task force focused for the last 2 years on figuring out ways to reduce recidivism in Arkansas. Senator Gilmore served as the chair of that task force, but it included, prosecutor, public defender, judges, a victim of a crime, someone who had been incarcerated, people from the corrections department, from the attorney general's office, and everyone in the entire criminal justice system. And we worked diligently for 2 years to identify where we could make changes to code to help reduce recidivism in Arkansas. This is really a consensus bill as a product of that work. We filed it a couple of weeks ago. We sent it around to everyone who had input through the task force. Everyone except for the prosecutors and the corrections department just gave it a thumbs up as it was originally. The prosecutors had a couple of concerns. We addressed both of those with an amendment. The Department of Corrections had, about a page and a half of notes. We incorporated 100% of their notes into the bill through an amendment. At this point, as I said, it is a consensus bill. I'm not aware of anybody who has any opposition to the bill. I'm happy to go into, there's a good bit of ways in here that we're seeking to reduce recidivism. I'm happy to go into as much of that as anybody would like for me to through questions. But generally, again, it's a product of 2 years of work and policy changes that we're making to help reduce recidivism in Arkansas.
Any questions for Senator Tucker? Senator Flowers, you're recognized for question.
So I see this phrase, evidence-based practices and quality assurance unit, and we've seen that before, evidence-based ideas or whatever to come up with solutions to fix problems with crime. So how is this supposed to be different? And I don't know, it seems to me like every 5 years or so, the law changes. But we always talk about these evidence-based practices. Are evidence-based practices changing that much? And what result does this task force think?
What result, I'm sorry?
What is the result that this task force thinks is going to happen as a result of this?
Okay, so
I don't know what they probably hope for, but
right.
Have they come up with some hard numbers? What could possibly be the result?
I'll take your questions in order. The first one is actually one of the more alarming things that at least I learned during the course of our task force is that there really aren't any evidence-based practices being used for people in incarceration in Arkansas right now. And I was surprised and alarmed when I heard that there was testimony in the task force meeting to that effect. And this is an effort to make sure that, because we do want to be making decisions based on evidence, not based on a lack of evidence, for helping people overcome substance use, mental health, getting education, getting job treatment, getting the types of things that they need so that they can turn their lives around when they do re-enter society and not resort to committing another crime. So this is establishing a unit within the Department of Corrections to actually incorporate those evidence-based practices and just help run the department better in terms of the inmates who are incarcerated, to give them that better chance.
But it seems like I've heard that before. And the department has adopted, or they claim they did when they speak in front of committees, these evidence-based practices. I remember Sheila Sharp, and even before she was the director, they were talking about evidence-based practices. Went all the way out to California, to San Francisco, to look at evidence-based practices. I mean, seems like we're writing all these laws and having all these task forces, and to what end? I don't understand this.
If that's true, then I don't believe it's been in code. I think that was maybe a practice by some people, either in the Department of Corrections or the Department of Community Corrections, which used to be its own separate state agency, as you remember. I don't believe it's ever been in code. But we did have testimony. Nod your head if you agree, Senator Gilmore, if your recollection is the same. We had testimony in the task force meeting from the Department of Corrections that they do not currently have evidence-based practices using for those who are currently incarcerated in state prison. Or minimal, but it's not in code. So this is putting it in code to make sure that we have that moving forward.
So when the task force was speaking about evidence-based practices, did they have some examples of evidence-based practices that they want to see put in use?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can't recall all of them off the top of my head. I can recall one example. When someone is admitted into state prison, there's a risk assessment test that states administer. In Arkansas, it's not a validated risk assessment. It had 4 questions. And I can't remember what all 4 questions were, but one of the questions was, how old were you when you first consumed alcohol? One of the questions was, have you ever had suicidal ideation? And it was 4 questions long. In other words, it's not sufficient for the information that we need in order to provide a person with either the mental health or the substance use treatment or the education and job training that we hope to provide them while they're incarcerated, so that they have a best chance of success when they are ultimately released from prison and re-enter society. So, one of the examples would be to replace that test with a validated risk assessment test, so that the department is more informed about the inmates and their care and custody when they come into state prison.
So they're going to be relying on the responses of the prisoner. Seems like they ought to have a record, a history of the person, Well, I guess they use that too.
Well, another section of the bill is creating a pilot program with the Administrative Office of the Courts to produce a pre-sentence report for an offender, not after adjudication, but at the time of sentencing, so that they are developing that information, so that judges and prosecutors, in the context of a plea agreement, can make a more informed decision about a person's sentence, and then that information will transfer over, assuming that person is sentenced to prison, that'll transfer over to the Department of Corrections so that they do have that background information that you're talking about.
So it sounds like a lot of it is going to be dependent on the inmate providing truthful answers, because, I mean, if you're looking at going to the pen and making your time easier, you're going to figure out how to say the right things so that your sentence might be a little leaner. I'm not sure. How many people were on that task force?
I was about 18 or 20, I would say. And there were, prosecutors and judges on the task force.
From all over the state of Arkansas?
It was Dan Shu, who's currently the president of the Prosecuting Attorneys Association. So he was there, representing the prosecutors. And when we amended the bill last week in Judiciary, I probably had a conversation with 7 elected, 5 to 8, somewhere in that range of elected prosecutors on the bill, including with Mr. McMahon and Ms. Computers, who are the head of the Prosecuting Attorneys Coordinators Association and deputy of the association.
And the task force looked at all types of crimes, so this was written in view of more less serious crimes and more serious crimes. Say somebody's in there for criminal failure to pay child support.
Right. Really, the bulk of the bill deals with usually, most often with people on probation and parole, not with people who are actually incarcerated. But yes, we looked at all types of crime, yes.
So this would apply to people on parole or probation?
In different sections of the bill. The section of the bill, Section 5 that you asked about, the Evidence-Based Practices and Quality Assurance Unit, that's going to be for people who are incarcerated in state prison. But there's other sections of the bill. For example, we have a sentencing grid for how long someone's going to be in prison. We don't have a sentencing grid for how long someone's going to be on probation. And we think it'll lead to better outcomes if we have guidelines for sentencing on probation. That's another example of a change in the bill.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Senator Tucker? Senator Payton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. This criminogenic that we're defining, can you tell me, I see we're creating a definition, I guess,
right,
for it, but I don't understand the definition any more than I do the word.
Right.
And there's not any context as to, other than just being part of the definitions, how's it going to be used?
So that was one of the changes that the Department of Corrections requested to be amended into the bill. There was a definition in there originally. We struck the original definition and replaced it with a definition suggested by Dr. Bratton at the department. So she's going to be the one really making use of that definition. And essentially what it means is boiled down into layman's terms, is something that makes it more likely for a person to reoffend.
So we're talking about genetics or characteristics or social status or?
No, it's more personal characteristics. It's not about genetics. No.
What about economic status or?
That may be one of the factors.
Okay.
I don't believe that's one of the factors. No, I don't believe that's one of the factors.
Okay, thank you.
I know for certain genetics is not.
Any other questions for Senator Tucker? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, this is a product of 2 years' work with every sector of the justice system. Been working on it with Senator Gilmore and then Representatives Gazaway and Dalby. There's no known opposition to the bill. We accommodated all the concerns of the prosecutors and the Department of Corrections. This will help reduce recidivism in Arkansas, and I appreciate a good vote.
Senator is closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 34 yeas, 0 nay, 1 present, Senate Bill 485 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 488.
Senate Bill 488 by Senator Irving to amend the law concerning when juvenile is considered to be a delinquent.
Senator Irving, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. This amends the law when a juvenile is considered to be adjudicated as a delinquent, defining that as 10 years of age or older at the time the juvenile committed the act. And then also the second part of the bill makes sure that if somebody is committing a crime, it's juvenile from birth to 18 years of age, but if they were under the age of 18 at the time the delinquent offense occurred but has since reached the age of majority, they're still adjudicated as delinquent, as juvenile. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Senator Irvin? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized closed.
I'm closed. Appreciate a good vote.
Senator is closed. Any objection, rolling the vote. Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers, present. Any other senator? Senator Murdoch, present. Senator Love, present. Any others? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 32 yeas, 0 nay, 3 present, Senate Bill 488 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senator Irvin, you're recognized for motions.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, we had 3 Senate bills that came out of Senate Public Health that need that have amendments on them. I want to go ahead and just suspend the rules and get those amendments engrossed today so that we can move them because they may need amendments on the House end. So we just need to do that. 2 of them are mine and 2 of them are Senator Penzo's. So I'm just going to handle that with his permission. Senate Bill 311.
Motion to
Senate Bill 311, Amendment 1.
So a motion would be to suspend the rules to allow for Senate Bill 311 to be amended and then engrossed, and it would then be on the calendar tomorrow. That's the motion.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Amendment 1, Senate Bill 311.
This is Senator Penzo's amendment and his bill. Appreciate your vote.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Thank you. 255. Senate Bill 255, motion to suspend the rules to amend Senate Bill 255. It came out of committee this morning with the amendment. Again, trying to adopt the amendment to send it to engrossing so it's ready to be on the calendar for tomorrow.
All those in favor of the motion to suspend the rules to allow for a vote on the amendment to Senate Bill 255, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion
Amendment 1,
carries.
Senate Bill 255.
This is Senator Penzo and committee's amendment.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Okay, Senate Bill 619 is my bill. It came out of Education Committee this morning. The motion to suspend the rules to adopt the amendment that was passed in committee this morning, sent to engrossing.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Amendment 1, Senate Bill 619.
My bill, my amendment.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Senate Bill 627 is the last one. Saying motion to suspend the rules to adopt the amendment that was passed in committee this morning so we can send it to engrossing.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 627.
My bill, my amendment. Appreciate a good vote.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, amendment is adopted, please send to engrossing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Irvin. I believe that we are not taking up Senate Bill 494. That is actually still in the House, so we will move now to Senate Bill 496.
Senate Bill 496 by Senator Caldwell to amend the law concerning permits for special cargoes and to amend the law concerning the issuance of a permit for special cargo transported by a farm machinery equipment hauler.
Senator Caldwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, all this does is we have a lot of farm equipment dealers out here that haul their own equipment. Some of their trucking companies are set up in LLCs. This changes the term from farm equipment dealer to farm equipment hauler to allow them to buy an annual permit, which is already on the books, instead of buying a permit every time they haul a piece of equipment.
Any questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're free to close. Senator's closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Lippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Pinzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast the ballot. By a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays, Senate Bill 496 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 497.
Senate Bill 497 by Senator Wallace to require the creation of a poster regarding veterans' benefits and services and to require certain employers to display the poster.
Senator Wallace, you're recognized.
Governor, members, this is a bill that will help our veterans. It creates a poster that will be printed off and placed on the bulletin boards of companies with 50 or more employees. And specifically, this poster will give the contact and website information for the Department of Veterans Affairs, substance abuse and mental health treatment for our veterans, educational workforce training and tax benefits for our veterans, the suicide and crisis hotline, and eligibility for unemployment. And with that, I stand by for your questions.
Any questions for Senator Wallace? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Lippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Pinzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast the ballot. By a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays, Senate Bill 497 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 516.
Senate Bill 516 by Senator Gilmore to allow a person filing as a candidate for the office of Justice of the Supreme Court or Judge of the Court of Appeals who is an appointee in that position to use the title of that position as a prefix when filing as a candidate.
Senator Gilmore, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. So, members, this bill is a cleanup bill from one we already passed this session, just to prove that I'm not perfect. We missed the code section, and all this does is go back and clean that up. This is related to judicial ballot titles. Happy to take questions.
Questions for Senator Gilmore? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Hayden, Enzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tupper, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote, Senator Flowers present. Any other senator, King not voting. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 33 yeas, 0 nay, 1 not voting, 1 present. Senate Bill 516 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senator McKee, you're recognized for a motion.
Members, I'd like to move to suspend the rules, place SB 596 on the end of today's Senate calendar.
586. 586. Do you say 8? 96.
96.
Motion to suspend the rules to add SB 596 to the end of today's Senate calendar. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Senator Payton, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I'd like to move that we withdraw Senate Bill 82 from committee and put it on the calendar at the first opportunity here so we can discuss it, I can present it, and we can vote on it on the Senate floor. This is the used car sales tax exemption increase. Any questions?
Senator Hickey.
Senate Bill 82. From Reverend Test. Do what? Oh, not for purposes of amendment. This is the real deal.
Okay. All right. Senator Payton, is your motion to suspend the rules, to put it on as soon as possible, or is it to extract and wait the 2 days?
The motion is to extract from committee and put on the first normal calendar that it could go on. To put it on the calendar,
Correct.
Extract from committee.
Okay.
If I get enough votes, then I can make my motion to suspend the rules, right?
All right. We have a motion to extract Senate Bill 82 from committee to be put on the calendar. However, this is debatable, and Senator Hickey is recognized to speak against.
Members, I don't blame Senator Payton for doing this. I'll tell you this, I wouldn't have gave 2 cents with him whenever he was representing Payton. And the truth is, I consider him a friend of mine as a senator now. You all know me. If I didn't, I wouldn't say that. So this is what I want to say for you all. Now, you all know how revenue tax operates, and I'm going to tell you right now, what we do if there's a fiscal impact on a bill, we move it to deferred, because actually there's all type of noble bills that are on there right now in the deferred, from exemptions for battered women to children's programs to exemptions for inputs for farmers and just a ton of other things. I mean, they're on there. But what I'm going to say is this body, for the last 2 governors, and especially this governor, I'm going to go ahead and say it, what we have said is that we want to make income tax cuts our priority. And that's what we've done. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not advocating to do that right now either, because I would personally want to say that we put that on pause, let everything bake,
see where we're at with stuff, let this economy kind of subside and see what's going to go on there before we even do that. So what I'm asking you all is that you do not do this, because if we're going to do this, we might as well extract every one of them and hear them on the floor. And what you're going to have is you're going to probably have, I've not added them up, it wouldn't surprise me if you're going to have $500 million in cuts that are then going to take priority over something else and also affect our cash flow. So, not saying it's not a good bill at all, it is a good bill, but there are probably multiple good bills on there, but in revenue tax we have to prioritize, and that's just the way it is. So I'd ask you for a no vote.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion to extract? Senator, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President. I thought y'all should know that the estimated revenue impact for this next fiscal year would be 11.27, and then the first full fiscal year would be 17.15. It's likely this is the only tax reduction that, as a body, that we get to vote for. But I'm told by Mr. Anderson over y'all, we have $384 million surplus sitting there now. I know that we've dedicated a lot of what we've had in the past to the prison thing and the highways, and a lot of our current surplus is going to be dedicated to that type of thing. We've had $100 million income tax cuts, and I really appreciate that because it's helped me. But the bottom line is, surely we can find $12 million to cut for the most vulnerable, hardworking, low-income Arkansans that need transportation. Arkansas is a rural state. They can't get back and forth to a good job without a good car. We need the opportunity to debate this bill, and it's not a big fiscal impact. So all we do by extracting it is give ourselves an opportunity to consider it. And I appreciate a good vote.
Senators closed. All those in favor of a motion to extract, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Noes have it, motion fails. We will move next back to the Senate calendar. Senate Bill 534.
Senate Bill 534 by Senator Leding to establish the Arkansas K-Tron Consumer Protection Act and to remove K-Tron from the controlled substance list in Arkansas.
Senator Leding, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I'm going to take just an extra minute more than I normally would because I know there are questions and I want you to feel good about this when you vote for it here in a few minutes. We are here to regulate kratom, protect consumers, and give Arkansas one more tool in the fight against opioids. This issue was first brought to Representative Eubanks and I some years ago by former Republican State Senator Kurt Bramble from Utah. He championed the passage of this legislation out there. We've talked about taking a step in Arkansas for the last 4 years. Senator Boyd filed an interim study in 2023 to look at legalizing this. And today we are here with the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. Because several of you have asked, kratom is an extract from the Nitrogyna speciosa tree. It's an evergreen tree native to Southeast Asia. It has been used as a pain reliever for centuries. In 2015, under the President Obama's administration, the FDA told Arkansas and a handful of other states that it was going to schedule this substance as a drug, and it encouraged these states to get ahead of the curve by banning it. So that's what Arkansas did. Our Department of Health held a public comment window that was just 7 hours long before it took action. So again, only 6 states moved to ban kratom. In 2016, the last year of President Obama's administration, the FDA moved forward with that plan, but it halted immediately in the face of intense public opposition. There were hundreds of thousands of letters that were sent to the White House. Among the members of the U.S. House that opposed the FDA's plan, the majority of those were Republicans. Among the U.S. senators that opposed the FDA's plan was Senator Orrin Hatch. And I will note that even the DEA rejected the FDA's plan to schedule this substance. So it never happened under President Obama's administration. We get to 2018, under President Trump's first administration, the FDA completely withdrew its plan to schedule this substance. So now, again, only 6 states moved forward with this plan because we got bad advice from President Obama's administration. President Trump's administration reversed that course. We're just trying to undo that right now. 5 of the 6 states are looking at undoing their ban on this substance. 14 states have passed the legislation before you today. Those include Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, and just 2 weeks ago, Missouri. The main reason to do this is, again, we got some bad advice, but also this substance is helpful to opioid addicts. It can help them deal with their withdrawal symptoms. So this is a substance that opioid addicts can use to break away from that addiction. I'd appreciate a good vote.
Questions for Senator Leding? Any questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator Blake Johnson, you're recognized to speak for.
Members, my brother, God love him, he hadn't worked nearly as hard as I have, but he's got a lot of health issues, and he has motion issues, and he has migraines, and he takes this product, and it's better than the opioid alternatives, and I'd appreciate a good vote.
Anyone else wish to speak against or for? Seeing no other, Senator Leding, you're recognized to close.
I would just thank the Senate Majority Leader for his comments there. This is something that could be good for opioid addicts in Arkansas. We know how serious that problem is. And whatever your thoughts about the fact that I might be carrying this bill, I would ask you to consider that Representative Eubanks also put his name on this bill. I would appreciate a good vote. Thank you.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Objection noted. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees. Good? No. Dismang, Dotson, English, I know. Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to vote who did not vote or change your vote? Senator Boyd, yes. Senator Crowell, yes. Any other senator? Senator Hickey, present. Senator Sullivan, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, check the board. Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 24 yea, 5 nay, 3 not voting, 3 present. Senate Bill 534 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 540.
Senate Bill 540 by Senator Mark Johnson to limit the suspension or revocation of a driver's license or imposition of restriction on driver's license of a person who has suffered a seizure.
Senator Mark Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 540 addresses the restriction on driver's license for persons who have experienced a seizure. The American Academy of Neurology has come up with some new recommendations in March of 2025 on balancing public safety with the rights of individuals to drive. Currently, Arkansas is joined by 4 states in the District of Columbia, New Hampshire, New York, and Rhode Island, who require the 12-month suspension restriction. Senate Bill 540 will bring us in line with the recommendations of the neurologists. I might say we had a lady who was doctor of the day about a month or so ago, and I talked to her about this, and she said it was a great idea, that we should do this. We had excellent testimony in committee from people who have suffered seizure but are well under control. And one of the things that was brought out, which I hadn't thought about, was that it keeps people, it encourages people to state that they've had a seizure and then get the medication, as opposed to being scared that they might lose their right to drive and in many cases lose their job. So it's a good bill, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Senator Mark Johnson? Senator Blake Johnson, you're recognized for a question.
Senator, right now, you can get a provisional or a waiver after 3 months without a seizure. Is that correct?
Well, actually, Senator, in the research on this, I found out that we don't really have a firm law on this. This has all been done by rule by DF&A.
That's what.
And we're trying to clarify that what it is, that it can't be more than 6 months. It could be less, and it could be not at all, based on the waiver and what the doctor's report is.
All right, thank you, Senator.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator Mark Johnson, you're recognized to close.
I'm closed. I appreciate a good vote.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Dotson, present. Any other senator? Senator Penzo, present. Senator Flowers, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 32 yea, 0 nay, 3 present. Senate Bill 540 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 562.
Senate Bill 562 by Senator Hill, to amend the law concerning the Office of Internal Audit and to repeal the requirement of an annual project review and efficiency study of the Arkansas Department of Transportation.
Senator Hill, you're recognized.
Colleagues, all this does is reduce some paperwork for the Department of Transportation on a report that no one looks at anymore. With that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for Senator Hill? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 35 yea, 0 nay. Senate Bill 562 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 565.
Senate Bill 565 by Senator Flippo, to allow procurement certifications to be combined, to amend the law concerning the representation to state contracts regarding contingent fees, and to amend the cooperative purchasing reporting deadline.
Senator Flippo, you're recognized.
All right, members, this is just a streamlined procurement bill, and what this bill does is there are currently several different laws scattered throughout Arkansas Code that require state agencies and higher education institutions to get contractors to provide different certifications that kick in at different monetary thresholds. For example, they don't boycott Israel, or certification stating that they do indeed believe the 2020 presidential election was stolen. And so what that does is it just takes that and comes it into one single certification instead of multiple certifications. It doesn't change anything in its current statute or law. It just streamlines our procurement process. The 2020 election was a joke. Ha ha. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Senator Flippo? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote?
Hey,
He needs to correct his statement before we vote on this about the presidential election being part of it. I think he was making.
That was a very awesome attempt at humor that maybe not everybody picked up on.
All right. I've discouraged jokes before, so any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers, not voting. Senator Flowers voting no. Is that correct? Tucker, present. Scott, present. Love, present. Any other senator? Murdoch, present. Letting, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 29 yea, 1 nay, 5 present. Senate Bill 565 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senator Hester, you're recognized.
Hey, members, just a reminder, like I said at the start of the day, when we get to House calendar, we're going to try to start batching those. So if you have any you do not want batched, please let Sabrina know. Thank you.
Senator Flowers.
So it doesn't appear, based on messages that I'm receiving, that all of the bills are listed on our agenda that we have presently on our desk. Are we going to get an updated agenda here? I'm having, and with all the motions being made to add things at the end of the calendar and all this and that, I'd like to know exactly what it is that we can expect to be voting on.
That's a very reasonable request. I will work on a supplemental calendar for the motions that we've agreed to today to add to the end of the calendar. Or do we know how many that has been?
We did move Senate Bill 120 and Senate Bill 347 from the top of the Senate calendar to the bottom of the Senate calendar. Senate Bill 590 will also be at the bottom of the Senate calendar.
Okay. Hey, yeah, I see what you're saying, Senator Flowers. Clearly, it's a bunch. I will get something printed out and handed out to all of us with everything that we've agreed to either move to the end of the calendar or add to the end of the Senate calendar today.
Thank you.
Correct. Just Senate bills. Just Senate bills. Nothing's been added to the House calendar.
Bill is going to be voted on or something. I'd just like to have a clean sheet with what we are supposed to be looking to vote on.
So the clean sheet will be the yellow sheet that you currently have, and then we will get out a secondary sheet for the things that we voted today to here today.
And for planning purposes, Senators, Senate Bill 593, which will be on the next page, but that bill is going to interim study, and then we are passing over Senate Bill 613 today. So just for planning purposes in the next half hour or so. And what I would like to do, Senators, for also planning purposes, depending on the length of discussion of these next 7 or 8 bills, is to get through the Senate bills, and then that are listed, as well as Senate Bill 120, Senate Bill 347, and I believe it's Senate Bill 590. Senate Bill 492 and 596. We'll get those listed, but by the end of what's in front of you, By the end of Senate Bill 611, we will have a list of what will be voted on after that. By the end of that time, if not before. We will shoot to get it to you all before to allow plenty of time, but if you have any other questions, please let a member of the team know. With that, we're going to move forward with Senate Bill 567.
Senate Bill 567 by Senator Crowell to amend and modernize the law concerning the apportionment of income derived from multi-state operations and to change the method for sourcing of receipts for services and intangibles.
Senator Crowell, you're recognized.
Colleagues, this is Arkansas General Assembly adopted the multi-state compact in the 60s. This is cleanup language to incorporate us in with the other states. 34 states have done this cleanup language, and that's what it is. There's no known opposition, and the Chamber supports this.
Any questions for Senator Crowell? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismay, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays, Senate Bill 567 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 573.
Senate Bill 573 by Senator Petty to amend the method of evaluation under Arkansas Constitution, Article 16, Section 5, by defining the terms used in the established methods of evaluation for purposes of property tax.
Senator Petty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, if you have ever spent any time dealing with assessments or challenging assessments, then you probably have experienced what brought this bill on. All this bill is doing is putting the definitions in for purposes of assessment in one location. For example, if you look at the very first page, they're talking about cost approach. That's a term that's in there. In order to define that, you would have to go to a certain section that deals with the PSC because at one point in time, the ACD was under the PSC, and it talks about cost approach and public utilities, but that's the only definition for cost approach in using assessments. And so basically this will hopefully clarify any inconsistencies and put it all in one location. The ACD is neutral on this. We met with them to discuss it. And with that, I'm happy to try to answer any questions.
Any questions for Senator Petty? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
I am closed, but I would appreciate a good vote.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Crowell, Davis, Dees, Dismay, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers present. Any other senator? Senator King not voting. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 33 yea, 0 nay, 1 not voting, 1 present, Senate Bill 573 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 575.
Senate Bill 575 by Senator Tucker to amend the law concerning installment fees collected in circuit and district courts, to amend the law concerning driver's license and reinstatement fees, and to create the Justice System Task Force.
Senator Tucker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President.
Members, this bill would be a step one in reforming the fees that we have in the criminal justice system in Arkansas. I think everyone who, especially those of us who have served on judiciary and have really taken a look at these, knows that we're in need of fee reform. This is a small step one. Originally, I would have loved to address a lot more fees in this legislative session, but it's a very complicated thing to do. So this really just addresses two fees, which are really the two most harmful, and at least in my view, in the justice system, that being the installment fee, which adds $10 per month to your principal balance, depending on how much you owe, or not depending on how much you owe. If you owe $1, it adds $10 per month until you get everything paid off. And then secondly is the driver's license reinstatement fee. This is an idea that I have stolen from the governor of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, which is to make these fees, they're all special, they're pretty much all special revenue right now. The problem with that is, there's two problems with that. Number one is that if you try to reform the fees ever at any point, and you can't really do that, it makes it much more difficult when the recipient of the revenue from the special revenue fees depends on that revenue. And so if you make it general revenue instead of special revenue, then you can make an attempt at reforming the fees without garnering an opponent out of the recipient of that revenue. The second reason is a lot of the agencies are funded by the imposition of these fees, and it creates an inherent conflict of interest. The more of these fees I impose, the more revenue my agency generates. And so we remove that conflict of interest by making this general revenue rather than special revenue. But we do this in a way without costing these agencies a single dollar, because however much money they've been getting out of these special revenue fees, we put that into GR, and then we're taking this exact same amount out of GR and sending it to the agency. So no agency is losing a dollar by passing this. We're not actually ultimately really changing the law by this bill, other than just making those two special revenues into general revenues. And then it creates a task force to study the rest of the fees in the interim. There's really only two agencies that are affected by this bill, the Administrative Office of the Courts and DF&A. I've been working extensively with both of those agencies and with the governor's office on this. We're almost to a resolution. Representative Dalby is the House sponsor of this bill. She's going to hold it until we reach a final resolution with AOC. But as of this point, everyone who I've been working on this with, including the agencies, is comfortable with this moving forward off the Senate floor. And we're going to get that last I dotted and T crossed before Representative Dalby runs it in the House. But that's where we are right now. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions for Senator Tucker? Seeing no questions, anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate a good vote.
Senator is closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays. Senate Bill 575 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 576.
Senate Bill 576 by Senator Davis, to amend the coverage of continuous glucose monitors within the Arkansas Medicaid program.
Senator Davis, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, this bill just deals with someone being qualified to receive the CGM, their requirements, and right now the law says 2 or more times daily, and I'm striking that just to say that it has to be in accordance with Medicare policy. We passed the language 2 or more times back, I think, 4 years ago, and that is what Medicare policy was at the time. It has changed since then. So instead of trying to change the law every couple of years to keep up with what Medicare standards are, we just put it in there in accordance with Medicare policy so that Arkansas will be in line with what the feds are doing in regard to continuous glucose monitors. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Senator Davis? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close. Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays, Senate Bill 576 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 577.
Senate Bill 577 by Senator Petty, to amend the law concerning local sales and use taxes, and to require the Department of Finance Administration to notify local governments concerning sales and use taxes that are set to expire.
Senator Petty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, this bill is just an attempt to put in one place all of the reporting requirements and the procedures that need to be followed in order for an extension of an existing sales tax. In Crawford County last year, and then through that process, we discovered that it had happened in several other locations as well throughout the years. But we had a sales tax that was passed. It was a countywide sales tax that was passed a long time ago. It was extended, but there are at least 4 different state office notifications and requirements that you have to follow. They missed one of them, and so because of that, we had to let the sales tax that was approved by the citizens expire for 90 days so they could go through the process of notifying the proper state offices for the extension. Again, it's not changing anything. It just requires DFNA to notify the current administration of the requirements for extending a sales tax. That has been previously passed. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Senator Petty? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? King, not voting. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 34 yeas, 0 nay, 1 not voting, Senate Bill 577 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 578.
Senate Bill 578 by Senator Hester, to amend the law concerning early voting and to allow County Board of Election Commissioners to close certain early voting locations during inclement weather.
Senator Hester, you're recognized.
Thank you, Governor. This bill allows for County Board of Elections to close down some early voting locations. Not all of them have to keep the county seat open in an event of, like, an example would be inclement weather or a tornado or something like that. They have to vote unanimously, which would mean there's clearly something going on. We know that the board of those boards are bipartisan. So in the event that something happens and they vote unanimously, they can shut down some of the early voting sites early or for the day.
Questions for Senator Hester? Anyone wish to question? Senator Flowers, you're recognized.
So this bill anticipates inclement weather as a reason for closing the voting location. I'm trying, what are you basing it on, a weatherman's report? What is this, a forecast? If you get a forecast that we're gonna have snow tomorrow, then they're gonna meet and say the voting booths are closed or the location is shut down?
Well, I would hope that's not the case, but this would allow, I mean, we all know that our Board of Election Commissioners are bipartisan. It would allow them, I don't know, if a tornado came through, or if they were, if there was sleet and rain coming, to be able to close early or close for the day at that time. But that's for each individual county board of elections to be able, board of elections to be able to make that decision for themselves.
So could this be on the day of voting that something would happen, some bad weather come in, and all of a sudden they meet and say, we're going to close it, and people are standing in line to vote?
Well, I would hope that is not what they would choose to do. I don't know.
Could that happen here?
It could happen. I think a lot of the concerns, many of our poll workers are elderly, and sometimes it's a concern, like it may never be a concern. This was brought to me by Association of Counties. It was something they felt like was important. I agree. They just need to have that option in the time of an emergency.
I just don't understand how practical this is. I mean, we got reports from weather forecasters last week that we were going to have rain and floods, but how advanced is this emergency meeting supposed to happen? I mean, it's based on what? Is it based on some information they get from NOAA or what?
That's why we have these elected election commissioners to make these decisions. And at that time, they're in each county, and they have the ability to make those decisions at the time for that county.
But they're not weathermen or women, are they?
Well, no, I'm not a weatherman, but I can walk outside and see if it's safe to drive or not.
Right in front of you, but I guess about 10 miles down the road, you wouldn't know.
That's true.
Okay.
Senator Clark, you're recognized for a question.
Senator Hester, this is for early voting, not election day, correct?
That's correct. Only early voting, and they have to at least keep one, the county seat, open regardless of conditions.
And the members of the Election Commission are either 2 Republicans, 1 Democrat currently, or 2 Democrats, 1 Republican, as we've seen it in the past.
That's correct, bipartisan.
And this is mainly because that primary, if it's going to be in March, early voting is reaching into February where we have snow and ice, correct?
That is a response to that bill, yes.
And the law right now, even if you got 10 inches of snow or 2 or 3 inches of ice, is polls have to be open. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Senator Hammer, you're recognized for a question.
Senator Hester, I noticed in the bill you've got the phrase inclement weather. Is that not a definition that we use to determine whether schools get closed or not?
It is, but we allow each individual school to make that decision just like we're going to allow each individual county.
Exactly. And inclement weather is a long-standing definition that would have to rise to a certain level in order to be able to defend the position that a unanimous vote would have to be given. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I think as many of us know, it's in any situation, it is very difficult to reach a unanimous decision.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Senator Hester? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection, rolling the vote. Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penso, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator Flowers present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot. By a vote of 34 yeas, 0 nay, 1 present, Senate Bill 578 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 580.
Senate Bill 580 by Senator Hammer to extend financing for purchases of vehicles and equipment for a rural fire protection district.
Senator Hammer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Governor. The bill's pretty simple. Fire departments can purchase equipment from the Forestry Commission. Currently, they're limited to be able to finance it for just 3 years. This would allow them to extend it to 5 years. Forestry Commission is okay with this. The other method of finance involves a constitutional change where currently they can only go up to 12 years because it's a constitutional issue, a little higher bar to get to given all the other constitutional amendments out there. So this will give specifically our volunteer fire departments some relief to be able to finance it out a little bit longer and just help their cash flow and get the equipment they need. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Senator Hammer? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed.
Closed. Appreciate a good vote.
Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays. Senate Bill 580 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 583.
Senate Bill 583 by Senator Tucker to amend the law concerning maximum allowable cost list relating to pharmacy services.
Senator Tucker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, we're all familiar with the situation with independent pharmacies or individual pharmacies and PBMs. We have a code section that if a PBM violates the code section by not providing the MAC list or by providing a drug at one cost to one pharmacy that they're affiliated with and then another cost to another pharmacy, then the insurance department can pursue the PBM for a violation of that statute and subject them to a fine. That's all well and good. I support that. That money goes to the insurance department. It does not go to the pharmacist who was harmed by the violation of that section. What Senate Bill 583 does is it creates a private right of action for the pharmacist to run in parallel with what the insurance department does. The insurance department is public enforcement. This is private enforcement, that if a pharmacy is harmed by PBM in violation of that code section, then a pharmacy can pursue a private right of action against the PBM to recover their harm.
Questions for Senator Tucker? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator, you're recognized to close.
I'm closed, Madam President. I appreciate a good vote.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Seeing no one, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 35 yeas, 0 nays. Senate Bill 583 passes. Please transmit to the House. Again, Senate Bill 593 is being sent to interim study. Senator Boyd, would you mind to come make a motion? I apologize.
Withdraw from the calendar and send to interim study. Just withdraw from the calendar and send to interim study.
I'd make a motion we withdraw from the calendar and send Senate Bill 593 to interim study. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Senator Blake Johnson. We say Senator Blake Johnson is right there. Senate Bill 597.
Senate Bill 597 by Senator Blake Johnson to create the criminal offense of threat of harm upon a financial institution employee.
Senator Blake Johnson, you're recognized.
Sorry about that, Governor. Thank you very much. Members, this creates the offense for criminal threat whenever it's a lending institution. An act is against a lending institution. It creates a Class B misdemeanor. Class B misdemeanor is up to 90 days or up to $1,000.
Questions for Senator Blake Johnson? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? Senator McKee, no. Senator Scott, no. Senator Payton, no. Senator Sullivan, no. Senator Flowers, no. Senator King, not voting. Senator Penzo, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other senator, please cast a ballot by a vote of 28 yea, 5 nay, 1 not voting, 1 present. Senate Bill 597 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 601.
Senate Bill 601 by Senator Hester, to create a pathway for a graduate of a foreign medical school to be licensed in the state if he or she is offered full-time employment as a physician from a health care provider.
Senator Hester, you're recognized.
Members, this provides a pathway for a doctor that is currently operating licensed with a clean license in another state to be able to come and operate in the state of Arkansas in a rural setting, only in a healthcare provider area like a hospital where they have supervision for up to 2 years, and at that point it would have to be reviewed. This is a very similar process that UAMS is currently allowed to do as a teaching hospital. We're going to open this up to our underserved communities as an option should they choose to as well.
Any questions for Senator Hester? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Rather, Senator Clark, you're recognized for a question.
Senator, when you say that's one of the best ideas we've had for our underserved communities and doctors in a long time?
I absolutely believe it is. It's critical to continue to add doctors. We all know that.
Thank you for bringing the bill.
Any other questions? Senator Flowers, you're recognized.
You don't think this violates your prohibition against DEI, do you?
No, we're happy to take any doctors.
But these are foreign doctors, so that's a particular type of doctor.
Yeah, we're not going to exclude them. We're not going to exclude them.
Oh. So you don't see any kind of inconsistency with bans on DEI and Chinese and other foreign groups that the government may or may not like. Maybe they think they are terrorists or something.
Right. No, these are operating doctors in other countries operating under good standards.
And it doesn't depend on what country they come from. They can come from any country, a country that we're at war with or something at any point.
As long as they are certified through the Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates, and an Arkansas hospital seeks them out and hires them in. They can't just come here. They've got to be sought out and hired by an Arkansas hospital.
And that wouldn't violate the bans on DEI?
No, it would not.
Interesting.
Any other questions about this bill? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? King, not voting. Any other senator? Flowers, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast up the ballot by a vote of 33 yeas, 0 nay, 1 not voting. Senate Bill 601 passes. Please transmit to the House. Senate Bill 611.
Senate Bill 611 by Senator Dees, to amend the Social Media Safety Act.
Senator Dees, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Members, Jonathan Haidt, the author of Ancient Generation, has a quote where he says that the great irony of social media is that the more you immerse yourself in it, the more lonely and depressed you become. As a reminder, last session we passed the first in the country, we introduced the first in the country's Social Media Safety Act in 2023. And we were leaders across the country by doing that. And today, this bill looks to amend that law that we passed. We've learned a lot being first across the country. Many states have passed their versions of our bill, and we've been able to take what other states have done, mixed with what we did last session, and I believe we have a better product today with this bill. So that's what this aims to do, is an amendment to the Social Media Safety Act. We know that 54% of teens self-report, tell us that it's hard for them to get off of social media. We know it's a very addictive and created an addictive product that especially attacks our young minds. The psychology behind it is actually very addicting. And so what this bill does, it really aims to help with those issues. We've seen an increase in anxiety and in depression, suicidal thoughts, all related to our youngest consumers of social media products. And so for that reason, this bill, the amendment really addresses some of the things that were held up in federal court, and it removes some of those. And then it also adds concepts that help protect our children. And so, for example, if you look at page 7 in the bill, this will address things like saying that social media platforms shall not use addictive algorithms, doomsday scrolling, if you remember some of those terminologies. It removes notifications for minors between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. when they need rest and growth. It also outlaws targeted advertising to minors, and then really addresses the contemporary understanding of addiction and compulsory behavior to make sure that those are being addressed. And so that's what this bill does. Would appreciate any consideration of this bill moving forward.
Questions? Senator Tucker, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator, I appreciate what you're doing here. I'm curious if there are people who oppose the bill.
The only feedback I've gotten for requests for amendments have been from big tech companies who have asked for clarification or definitional changes. I would say it this way, most companies want to be extracted from this. They don't want to be held accountable. And we are entertaining amendments. I'm meeting with different organizations to review that. I'm still open to amendments, frankly. But I can tell you, I don't have much cause to stop some of these large billions and billions of dollar companies that have really neglected, I believe, our youth especially. And so, yes, I'm happy to continue to look at amendments.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions? Senator Hill, you're recognized.
Who's going to determine addictive feed?
Well, we do have definitions
I mean, who determines that it's addictive or not?
Well, we have definitions that outline what addictive feeds are.
So we're going to get that in our algorithm or definition?
So in the bill, it outlines what we're talking about to be addictive algorithms.
Yep.
And then I would also add, too, that we have a follow-up bill, companion bill, that could create private right of action for parents to sue if there's been harm done. And also in this bill, that the Attorney General's office has the ability to address those issues.
Right. Now, what age group does this cover?
So we outline the minors being 16 and under.
16 and under?
Yes, sir.
So you do realize that when they get the age of 18, they can sign up for the military, and at that point, they have the right to fight for freedom of speech, which we're trying to limit?
Yes, sir. And we're addressing 16 and under. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Senator Irvin, you're recognized.
Thank you. Could you just briefly go through what you changed? So I'm looking at what you're striking, and so I'm assuming that what you're striking is what was in the original bill. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you can just, I see that you're changing basically what a social media company is, and you removed a lot of language there on page 3, and then I think also on page 5. So could you just kind of go through your mindset as to like how you're trying to, quote, fine-tune the legislation from when it passed to where it is today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So some of the things that were struck and added really have to do taking away a lot of the age verification side. There still is reasonable age verification language, but puts more emphasis on the social media company to make sure that they're not preying on the youth and the minors, and it asks more responsibility of the company to do that, to take ownership there, versus on the front end some, I believe we had some age verification side that we removed.
And you said that something about some of the changes were made because of some court cases, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, so federal court put an injunction when Net Choice, the industry, sued on this topic, and all hinged around the age verification process. And so we tried to address some of those concerns and then mimic what other states have done. We've learned from other states, states have learned from us, and so a lot of this language comes from other states that have paved the ground here.
Okay, and so I assume that the Attorney General has been involved with helping with the language of this based on those challenges?
Yes, ma'am. So we've worked with the Attorney General's office and the Governor's office on these bills.
Okay, all right. Appreciate your work on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator Hill, you are recognized to speak against.
Thank you, Governor. Colleagues, I know I'm not going to change any of y'all's minds, but I do want you to think about a slippery slope we're walking on. This is a freedom of speech issue. We have young men and women fighting every day, risking their lives for our country to have freedom of speech. If we're going to do away with it, just do away with it. This is a freedom of speech bill, any way you look at it. I spoke against it 2 years ago. I'm going to speak it again today. If you want to limit the freedom of speech, go ahead and continue to vote for this, and the next thing's going to happen in the newspaper and everywhere else. Well, thank you.
Anyone wish to speak for, against? Senator Dees, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, members. I appreciate Senator Hill's comments. There is no content that's being withheld. All this is doing is trying to protect our most vulnerable. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that the profits of these social media companies don't come before the protection of our children. And so with that, I appreciate your vote.
Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote. Did you have an objection? No objection? No objection. Okay. Oh, we do have an objection. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismang, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Letting, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Penzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senators who wish to vote, who did not vote, who wish to change your vote? Senator Payton, yes. Any other senator? Please check the board. See, Senator Murdoch, yes. Senator Love, yes. Senator Crowell, present. Senator Bryant, present. Senator Tucker, yes. Penzo, present. Irvin, yes. Any other senator, please check the board. Seeing no other senator, please cast the ballot by a vote of 21 yea, 3 nay, 7 not voting, 4 present. Senate Bill 611 passes. Please transmit to the House. And senators, again, we are passing over Senate Bill 613. However, now, let me give you a quick rundown. We are going to now move to the budget calendar. Senator Dees, a very quick point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Hey, members, we've got folks from John Brown University today, some poli-sci majors, as well as a city director from Silent Springs. If we could give them a warm welcome from here today.
Thank you, Senator Dees. Again, members, we're going to do the entire budget calendar, then we will take an administrative break. When we come back from a 10-minute or so break after the budget calendar, we will take up the supplemental calendar, and then we will take up individual House bills, and then we will vote the batch House bills. I will give you all a list of the individual House bills after the budget calendar before the break, so that way you all can make note of which individual House bills we'll be voting on. Now we will take up the budget calendar. Senator Dismay, you're recognized.
Thank you, members. I'm going to walk through the process just real quick so we're all on the same page, and then talk to you about what we're going to batch, what we're not. But the first set here, we have a bunch of Senate amendments that need to be made. I'm not going to explain each one of them because they all be explained at the same time. These relate back to the change in the pay plan and adjustments that have been made. So each one of these amendments, with the exception of the unclaimed property appropriation, which also has a pay plan issue or change, but there's one small change there to bump that up to $1 million worth of appropriation. Other than that, they all relate back to the state pay plan implementation. All right, so the bills that we would batch would be all of the House bills that's on page 1 and 2, with the exception of House Bill 1927. That requires just a 24 vote pass because it's changing an emergency clause. So we will vote it separately, so that's 1927 will already be pulled out of the batch vote for the House bills. We will also go ahead and pull out Senate Bill 354. That's the Department of Corrections prison funding. We'll pull that out for a separate vote. And so we'll vote all the House bills. I'll read through those quickly. And just let me know if you need to pull one out. We'll vote all of the Senate bills with the exception of Senate Bill 34, unless you would like to pull any others from the batch. So I'm going to read through those right now. We'll come back, we'll do the amendments, and then we'll start voting our batches. Or do y'all?
Yeah. Let's do the amendments first, Senator Dismay.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 40.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 41.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 52.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Please send. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 54.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 55.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 71.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing.
Amendment 1 to Senate Bill 72.
All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. Please send to engrossing. Senator Dismay.
All right, I'm going to read through the House bills and the Senate bills. If there's any you would like to pull out from the batch, let me know. We will vote those that we pull out first. So we've already mentioned two. That's going to be Senate Bill 354, and then House Bill 1927. But I'll read through the rest of the list. House Bill 1090, 1091, 1095, 1097, 1102, 1124, 1127, 1152, 1176, Senate Bill 25, Senate Bill 37, Senate Bill 39, Senate Bill 88, Senate Bill 359, House Bill 1389, House Bill 1639. All right, so we're going to move to Senate Bill.
Senator, I don't know if you stated Senate Bill 25, or maybe I just didn't hear it, but I just want to make sure.
Senate Bill 25.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start with, you want to start with Senate Bill 354? Okay. We'll start with Senate Bill 354. This is the $750 million appropriation for Department of Corrections capital improvement project for the prison project.
Senate Bill 354 by Senator Dismang, an act of the Department of Corrections, Division of Correction Development and Enhancement Capital Improvement Appropriation.
Senator Dismang, any questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator King, you're speaking on, against, or for? Against. Senator King, you're recognized to speak against.
Thank you, Madam President. Remember, I've done everything. Recently, the Board of Corrections, when this consultant out of California was saying that they're probably going to have to go 30 miles away to Fort Smith to get the water. That is exactly what we talked about. You built a facility, you should have already known about this on the front end. This is inconceivable that we should come in here and all of a sudden be trying to figure out where you're going to get water. Also, the staffing, also one other thing about trust in this. They kept saying that we're visiting with the local folks. The Franklin County judge folks just put out a Facebook post that nobody is communicating with him. So if you can't tell the truth on the front end, then how can you keep trusting people going down this process? We should still expand the Calico Rock expansion. This route will cost taxpayers at least $50 million more for 525 beds than we should have done in the Calico Rock expansion. Still need to have no vote on this, folks, for the better Arkansas.
Anyone else wish to speak for, on, or against? Seeing no other. Senator Dismang. Senator has closed. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Boyd. Bryant. Caldwell. Clark. Kroll. Davis. Dees. Dismang. Dotson. English. Flippo. Flowers. Gilmore. Hammer. Hester. Hickey. Hill. Irvin. Blake Johnson. Mark Johnson. King. Bleding. Love. McKee. Murdoch. Payton. Penzo. Petty. Rice. Scott. Stone. Stubblefield. Sullivan. Tucker. Wallace.
Any senator who wishes to change your vote? Senator Dees, yes. Any other senator? Murdoch, present. Any other senator? Seeing no other, please cast the ballot. By a vote of 19 yea, 10 nay, and 6 present, Senate Bill 354 fails. Senator Dismang.
All right.
House Bill 1927 of Eugene Senator Dismayne to amend the provision of Acts 2025, number 408, concerning the effective date of Acts 2025, number 408, and declare an emergency.
Senator Dismayne, you're recognized.
Thank you. Members, this is to correct the date in an emergency clause.
Any questions? Anyone wish to speak against or for? Senator has closed. Any objection to rolling the vote? Seeing no objection, Madam Secretary, please roll the vote.
Boyd, Bryant, Caldwell, Clark, Kroll, Davis, Dees, Dismayne, Dotson, English, Flippo, Flowers, Gilmore, Hammer, Hester, Hickey, Hill, Irvin, Blake Johnson, Mark Johnson, King, Leding, Love, McKee, Murdoch, Payton, Tenzo, Petty, Rice, Scott, Stone, Stubblefield, Sullivan, Tucker, Wallace.
Any senator wish to change his or her vote? King, not voting. Any other senator?